So, you want to be a real estate investor, but where do you start? How do you know what information and sources to trust? That's where I come in. I'm Jonny Catani, and this is the Investor Relations Real Estate Podcast. Hey guys, real quick, before we start, go to investwithcatani.com and download my free ebook, Is Commercial Real Estate Recession Proof? Now to today's show. What's up, guys? Happy Friday. Welcome to another episode of Friday Follow-Up here on the Investor Relations Real Estate Podcast. I am your gracious host, Jonny Catani, and we have made it through another week, baby. If you are following the weather at all, which that's probably the most random question I could have, or the most random statement I could have made, but there's a point. Especially if you're watching on YouTube, you see that my face is bright red. That's because in Utah over the last 4 days, we have gotten, no joke, close to 5 feet of new snow. So I have been in the backcountry all morning / afternoon, just absolutely ripping lines. I mean, just deep, chest deep powder. If you're a skier, snowboarder, you know what I'm talking about. So deep you need a snorkel. I mean, just insane. I'm going to post a video that I filmed, a little selfie video that I filmed on TikTok and Instagram. You can go there and see what I'm talking about. But I assume that most of you understand somewhere one of those references in terms of how deep it was. And it's been absolutely insane. The sun is finally out, which is nice. We needed a little reprieve from the snow. There is such a thing as too much. You can get too much and it can start to cause avalanche danger, depending on where you are, even inbounds. You can get avalanches in the resorts. A lot of sections stay closed because of the dangers. So it's good to get a break so they can catch up all their avalanche work and mitigation and make things safe. And on the skier side of that, that means that stuff is still untouched at some of these resorts. And so once they clear it and drop the rope, as they say, because typically these sections are roped off, it's more untouched powder. So probably more to come, which I'm extremely excited for. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. Today, I have a huge announcement. Now, this episode is going to be short and sweet because really it's just going to be this announcement. And, well, two things, I guess. First, we'll start with, it's not small, but tomorrow is legitimately the last day. Tomorrow, this short-term rental portfolio deal closes officially. So the nice thing about that is I'll actually be able to share all of the information, all the details of it, how much we raised, how much I raised, and I'll be in compliance, right? So that's how it works with the way this deal is structured, and I will get into that next week. So that's something to look forward to next week. We'll break the whole thing down. It's going to be great. But this week's big news. The Investor Relations Real Estate Podcast is officially coming to a close. No, the podcast is not ending, but thank you to my amazing coach, Kevin, who we have been working diligently over the last month. We are officially changing the name. Are you ready for the new name? This is so exciting. I'm very, very excited for this. It's going to be so much better in the industry, in terms of people understanding what the premise of the podcast is. And so I'll kind of start with why I call it the Investor Relations Real Estate Podcast. So almost everything in this industry in terms of syndications is investor relations, right? Because you're always looking for capital, right? Unless you're working with institutions. If you're working with retail investors, you're constantly either talking to investors, to the same investors, right? Keeping up with your current list, or looking for new investors like me, right? In the beginning, just trying to build my list, grow new investors. All of that is investor relations, which also ties into everything else relating to to the deals, right? You know, you got to have a good operator and sponsor and good GP, which ties into investor relations. And, you know, maybe the same person isn't doing both, but they're all connected. So in my head, it sounded like a great title, but unfortunately it's thrown some people off in terms of what it is that we talk about. Second part of that is the investor relations. So IRR is a play on words, because IRR also stands for internal rate of return, which is a key metric when you're looking at or reviewing an investment opportunity. So me, thinking I'm all smart and savvy, came up with this, you know, sophisticated title, and it's a play on words, and literally no one got it. So, you know, joke's on me, but that's okay, right? Because the key to good business is a pivot. And it's never too late for a good rebrand. We're not so deep in it that we, you know, this will upend everything we've built, right? So without further ado, the new name to the podcast is the Cashflow Chronicles. Boom. Love it. It's huge. Everyone's going to understand what the podcast is about, which is great. I'm excited for that. It'll be really nice in terms of when new people ask me about it, it's hard for them to, when I'm like, oh, it's the Investor Relations Real Estate Podcast, your brain doesn't really compute that to be able to just punch it in first try. So in this case, it'll be much easier to find, you know, when I tell people about it. And I think people will be more willing to listen and pay attention to it. So very, very excited for that. Again, want to thank Kevin. He's been amazing. He's an incredible coach. The team has been incredible. Looking forward to this rebrand. Going to be changing up the logo. A lot of big changes in terms of the podcast. I've already talked about some of the other changes in terms of going to start going to start putting out more solo episodes. So the name change and a lot of these changes are going to happen after the new year, right? Like it's almost Christmas time. I feel like the week after Christmas, but between Christmas and New Year's is like the twilight zone anyway. So a lot of back end stuff that needs to happen that's going to be happening in that time. And then the new one will launch, the new name will launch around the new year. That's our goal. So very, very excited for that. It's going to be awesome. Looking forward to bringing so much more new content. And we're going to continue going, baby. Keep on going. We are almost, I mean, we're basically 4 months away from the 1 year. I mean, this is just absolutely flown by. So we're 8 months officially. We're 4 days past the 8 month mark. We launched April 11th. So very, very excited for that. Excited for the new things to come and looking forward to building an even bigger fan base following. Want to thank those that have already been following. So thank you guys so much for listening. Also working on a new video series for all of the new investors in the world to help understand this crazy world of syndications, which subjectively is not that crazy, but I also, you know, recorded a daily podcast for 8 months. So, you know, my learning curve got flattened and, you know, I have a much better understanding of this industry than I did 8 months ago. Do I still get a deer in the headlight look sometimes? Absolutely. Will that continue for eternity? Probably, because the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know, right? And there's always some nuanced thing that you learn along the way as you do more deals and continue in the industry. So looking forward to that. So thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you're as excited as I am. And don't forget to rate, like, review, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Jonny Cattani. A lot more content coming your way. That's JONNY CATTANI. And I will talk to you guys next week. See ya. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching today's episode. I hope you really enjoyed it. Listen, I know it's cliche and you hear it all the time, but please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you know when the next video is coming out. Even though this is technically a daily podcast, you know it's coming out the next day. We have a ton of content coming your way. So please like and subscribe. It helps a ton. Leave comments. Would love to know what you guys think. And we will see you on the next one. Thanks so much.